win on Saturday. I thought the guys played extremely hard. Again, as we have all season long, it had some adversity in the first half and missed some opportunities in watching the game. Missed some opportunities in the first quarter that we should have had some points, at least probably 10. We missed a receiver in the end zone that was open, and then obviously the field goals. They did a good job, and we didn't protect well enough. And then the interception right before half with Robbie was a huge play. I think it kind of swung the momentum back our way, and then having the ball start second half, great job by the offense taking it down and scoring and creating a few more turnovers and getting a few short fields and getting us up 2 scores. So overall, obviously, a lot of things we need to continue to work on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game, but anytime you get a big win home or away, and this one happened to be at home, it's a big thing. So we're moving on to South Dakota State this afternoon. Open up for questions.
Chris, can you give us any kind of update you have on Lance's condition?
Yeah, I learned a little bit more today. We learned some stuff last week that probably wasn't real positive, but they wanted to kind of do a little bit more research, and it's a torn labrum. And when we found that out late last week, that's when we decided to at least start working Seth in. And then I would say in my conversations with Bobby today, not likely he would play this season, but it's because he thinks it's 4 to 6 weeks. They're not going to do surgery. So just based on that timetable, it depends if we're fortunate enough to make the playoffs, and if we continued on, it'd still be touch and go probably.
Do for your team. He was having an MVP season up to this point.
Yeah, he's having a great season. I feel awful for Lance, and but it's not the first guy that's happened to, and it's hopefully it's the last. But that's the unfortunate part of this game, and Bruce and Ty and now Seth are going to have to carry the load, and everybody else has to raise our level of play. You know, whether it's defense, offensive line, you know, our ability to run Easton a little bit more, however you want to look at it. Everybody has to rise up, and that's kind of the story of what Bison football's always been, and been in particular the last couple of years with the injuries. And so we have to design a plan so that the backs we have available know what they're doing and can complement each other. And they have some unique skill sets, and I think you guys saw that with Ty this weekend in some of his explosiveness that he has that probably was sheltered throughout the year because he hasn't played enough. But we've seen that a bunch in fall and spring, so we'll lean on Ty probably a little bit more.
Talk a little bit about Seth and why his shirt was pulled, what he brings to the table. Well,
not being negative, this is the last running back we have left, so that's the first reason why his shirt was pulled, because we're down Damaris and we're down Adam Cofield, and so now being down Lance, we had 6 in fall camp. That leaves us 3 left, and he's one of the 3 that's left now. That being said, he's a really good football player and somebody that we really liked all through fall camp, but we had so many backs, it was going to be a case where we could redshirt him, and then he had a shoulder injury probably 1st of September and missed some time, although he was down on the scout team anyway. And then after Ty got hurt, it was kind of like, well, let's continue to look at Seth, but he's not quite ready from a health standpoint. And then all of a sudden we lose Lance, and it's like, okay, Bobby, can Seth go? And he says absolutely. Now it's just getting him back involved in understanding our protections. It's not easy to play running back as far as it's not just running the ball, it's all the other things. And he's a guy that has really good talent, really good ability. Now it's just, can he do it when the lights are on? And that's what we're going to find out, because we played him a few plays. We were going to play him probably a little bit more, but just based on the field position, always being inside our own 10 or 15 because they were punting the ball well and stuff, that we didn't want to put him in those situations. So moving forward, he'll be a big part of it.
I know you're not a doctor, but are hip injuries more worrisome from your experience as a coach or as a
No, I don't believe so, because they're not going to do surgery. And Lucas Albers had a hip injury and did some surgery. Nate Jensen did the same thing, and those guys have come back, or those guys did come back fine. Obviously, it's a running back, so maybe that's a little bit different. But right now they're not doing surgery, and I think that's a positive sign to start.
Tie all the way healthy.
I think we were worried last week, early in the week, because it was a hamstring, and he didn't do much Monday and Tuesday. I thought he was really explosive on Wednesday, and then I thought he looked really good on Saturday, and I don't know how many carries he even had, maybe 6, something like that, but I think he played 20 plays, and we need to get him up into that 30 to 35 range.
You look at Seth and say, we want to get 6 carries out of him just to work him in, or can you not play it that way because you're trying to win a football game?
Yeah, we're trying to probably find out more what he can learn this week, but you'd hope he could be able to get the amount of plays that Ty was getting when all 3 guys were healthy. You know, when Bruce, Lance, and Ty were healthy, Ty was getting 15 to 20 plays. Hopefully Seth can get that many. Now, I don't know how many carries there are, just based on how the game plan's going.
What kind of runner did you recruit him as, and what did his skill set bring?
Well, he's probably a little bit bigger version of Ty. He's probably closer to 185, 190. He's not I don't think he's afraid to go inside by any means, but he's really electric on the edge, really good pass receiver. He can hit you downhill. He's a tough kid. But, you know, that being said, we're going to learn a little bit more about him this week. And we'll have our good-on-good periods when we go NDSU, and we'll give him a good share of those carries or looks to see how he reacts against some of those players that are you know, upper-level Missouri Valley guys.
Pulling a redshirt this late, Chris, is the family involved in those decisions too?
Well, not in this case. They weren't, just because we're running out of guys, and we brought Seth in and asked him point blank, do you want to play? And he said, absolutely. You know, and I look at it this way. I owe an awful lot to the 2017 seniors that have given their heart and soul to the program for 4 and 5 years, that if a young man can help that crew, then we're going to do that. And, you know, we hope we play more than just the 3 or 4 that are left. And so in this case, it was one of those situations where we brought him in and visited with him, and he was excited about playing. And I think as weeks continue to progress, you'll see him more. Plus, it'll help us on special teams, because we're kind of beat up a little bit on special teams too.
How far away is Adam Cofield? Is he still a ways?
He's probably still a ways, yeah. A few weeks at least.
Are there other options you considered, like, you know, moving over a fullback? I think Dimitri and took some stuff in.
Yeah, and we talked about some of those things, but you know, we'd be teaching Dimitri something in a week where this kid had the entire fall camp of our double rep system where he took every rep, and he's a really smart kid. Picked up the protections and understood our passing game and understood just what we would call the tracks of the back on different runs, whether it's power, G, zone. And it just seemed like a more natural fit for this kid to be able to do that in a shorter period of time.
How do you think this changes Bruce's role at all? You know, lean on him more heavily now?
Well, we did on Saturday, that's for sure. You know, he had 20-plus carries. You know, once again, it just depends on how the game will go. If he'll have that many carries or if he'll be in that 15 to 20 range, we probably need to give Ty the ball a couple more times. Every game is going to be different. Are we going to play 75 plays on offense, or are we going to play 60 plays on offense? So each game will probably dictate that, you know, just based on how it's going.
Well, you do have a game against South Dakota State this weekend. We should probably talk about that a little bit.
I appreciate that, Brian. Thanks.
Obviously, going down there, they're playing really well, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So that's kind of good on good right now, the way that your defense and their offense are going. Yeah, they are really electric, explosive on offense, have a lot of really good players. Obviously, everybody talks about Weineke and Goddard, and I really am impressed with the quarterback. He's a great player, and they've got a senior running back that's doing some really good things, that has played for an awful long time. They're good up front. They can beat you in a variety of ways, you know, running the football, throwing the football, running the quarterback, and we have to have a great plan. There's no secret to the plan. You try to keep their offense on the sideline, and you try to have your offense out there. That's nothing. That's new. That's the formula to try to, you know, slow those guys down, because if they have, I think, you know, last year when we played them the first time, they had 80-some plays. We're not going to be very successful in a game like that, even though the score was low. We're just not going to be very successful. And then the next time we played them, it was in the 40s, and that gave us a better chance. It'd be somewhere in between, would be probably realistic. You know, obviously, if we can hold it for 40 minutes, we need to do that.
Chris, is there any kind of blueprint that Youngstown and Northern Iowa did that maybe they even copied from you guys last year to say this is the way to beat them?
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, you go back and look at that playoff game, and that's kind of what we did. And there weren't probably a lot of big explosive plays by either team, but just methodically moving the chains and keeping the clock running. Obviously, the Northern Iowa game's a little bit different because it was just an awful day, I think, weather-wise, and rain, and there was a lot of turnovers, and I wish it were a day like today that we'd be playing, get a 30-mile-an-hour wind and it'd be cold. That would probably benefit us, I think, just the amount we want to run the football. But it's going to be a great football game. Both teams are extremely talented, and, it's going to be the tale of who can stay on the field the longest.
You got that win in the playoff game. Does this weekend still feel like a revenge for last year's regular season game?
We don't talk revenge, really. It's the next game on the schedule, and it's an important game like they all are, and our guys are excited to play South Dakota State just like South Dakota State's excited to play us.
What are you going to do with What are you going to do with Jabril being out in the first half?
Well, we're going to look at that this week, and we'll figure that out as the week goes on. We have some ideas.
These last several years, it really feels like the rivalry edge has stepped up for a lot of teams in the Missouri Valley. But to have UNI and then SDSU back to back, is that? I know you guys don't get roped up in the back and forth with them as much as they do, but do you talk to your guys about that and handling? I mean, these are two big rivalry games, a lot of emotion in them.
Yeah, and you got to take them one at a time, really, Beth. And the fact that we talked about Northern Iowa last week, and our first chance will be with our guys will be here at 3 o'clock, and we'll kind of address it then as far as the Dakota marker and, the importance of the game as far as the standings, the importance of the game as far as a postseason picture, importance of the game as far as, proximity to the two schools, all that stuff. But, our guys are smart enough. They know this is a really good football team we're playing.
About the offensive line, that they've only given up 8 sacks to a very pass-heavy offense.
For them, well, the ball comes out on time. That's the biggest thing. They do a great job of what we call RPOs, where you don't know if it's a run or a pass, and Christian has the option to run the football or to throw it based on what the defensive look is. So when you have that type of offense, you just don't give up very many sacks.
Anticipate Stig throwing something at you differently offensively? It seems like the last few times you guys have played, he's tried something different.
Yeah, I think so. Everybody, for however many times we've played these guys over the last 5 or 6 years with the playoff games and stuff, both schools, I think, do a really good job of going back to say what hurt us in 11, what hurt us in 12, what were we successful in 13, 14, whatever it may be. And so we do the same. We look at everything over the last X amount of meetings based on the coordinators staying the same and stuff. And so there'll be a new wrinkle. We'll throw some new wrinkles. And it's just a matter of ability to adapt and adjust to what you see on this given Saturday. But no question there'll be new wrinkles on both sides.
This is your only trophy game of the year. The Big Ten, it seems like they play one every week.
I'm glad it's our only trophy game.
Does it add a little different importance to it, the fact that it is your only one?
It's that it is the trophy game. It does add some importance. In the same respect, I'm not a big fan of having multiple trophy games. I'm glad we just have the one.
Chris, the second half adjustments, back-to-back weeks against Western and UNI, what's worked so well once you go into the half and come out and get open?
Well, I think the big thing is our players not panicking and not feeling all is lost because we've been tied, been down, whatever it may be, to the fact of we're going against really good football teams that come up with really good plans, and it's our job as coaches as well as the players to be able to make those adjustments and decide, okay, what can work, what haven't we tried, or what did we try, it did work, we didn't go back to. And it still comes down to the line of scrimmage, and we were better in the second half in both of those games, in particular on the offensive line. And then the defensive line of just continuing to rotate as many guys as we have over the last X amount of weeks, especially the last 2 weeks in really tight games, to be able to play 9, 10 guys in the defensive front has been really good for us because it's allowed us to stay fresh the entire second half.
Maybe it's just me, but Dez seemed to be on the field more than I've noticed him. Is he starting to get into the mix?
Yeah, he's in the mix. It just, Coach Austin rotates them in a different way each week based on kind of how they do in practice and what each particular strength the guy has. And I don't know how many plays he was actually out there, but I know he's improving. I know that we are, as coaches, gaining more confidence in Dez, and I think he's gaining more confidence in understanding our system. So as that goes, I hopefully his repetitions and his production will continue.
Chris, big deal, little deal, no deal. Now they're playing on turf at South Dakota State. No more grass for you guys. I'm
glad. I think everybody probably in the league is glad that the grass is gone. You know, it wasn't a great surface. There's no, Stig knows that. There's nothing earth-shattering about that. So I mean, it's a great place, and our guys are going to be excited to play, just as theirs are. And you know, I don't know what the forecast is. I know it's supposed to be mid-40s. I don't know if there's any rain or anything in the forecast, but it should be a good track.
Hendricks left after he took a knee to the helmet. Was he okay or anything up with him?
They were worried about a concussion, and Bobby said he cleared all the concussion things. And I don't know if he came back in, but could have come back in, and he was just in the weight room, so he's good, ready to roll. Yeah, we're hopeful for Chris this week. He ran on Sunday with our trainers, and we're hopeful, which could really help us this week with Jabril sitting the first half, and maybe he can help us on some special teams as well as some defensive snaps. So we'll learn more about him probably today and tomorrow. But from what Bobby tells me, he's going to try to practice early in the week. That's really good for us.
What's going to be the key to getting the defense off the field against a team that's so successful on third down?
Well, getting pressure on the quarterback, I think, is probably the key. If he has time to throw it, they have really talented receivers, tight ends, and backs that find ways to get open, and they have good rapport to connect. And so our ability to get after the passer and be better on first and second down, so we're not in 3rd and 2 and 3 where they have a lot of versatility they can use, and 3rd and 9 plus 10 is better for us because it allows us to mix up between coverage and pressure.
Goddard and Winnicky is just as good. Are they playing at another level? Have you seen from what you saw in 16 to 17?
Yeah, they're great players. There's no question that every scout that comes in asks us about those guys, probably similar to everybody asking them about Nick and stuff. So, no, they're really, really talented guys that make you have to game plan around them, make sure you know where they're at all times. And that's something that, you know, the really good teams make sure and try to highlight their guys. And they do a great job of trying to find ways to get those two guys the football.
You didn't have him for either game last year. How much does that change the game plan for Saturday?
Well, just in general, having him helps us quite a bit. But we're not going to change something where, boy, he's going to go to a side or anything. He's going to play the will linebacker position in some sets when he's out there with Plank, and when he was out there with Levi, he'll play the Mike backer position just like we've done the last few weeks. But you know, I know he's excited about playing this game because he missed both of them last year.